This afternoon I'm focusing on the issue of practice leadership. And the whole point of that is that if you're going to have effective services, you need to train staff. We know that there needs to be a 3-level training for staff so that they learn how to do things in practice, not just verbally understand theory or just be able to say what they need to do. They need to be able to demonstrate that training in practice in the workplace. But even once you train staff, there's no point in just letting them go and get on with it. Staff teams are quite diverse, so they need active management and we call practice leadership rather than administrative leadership. So that you've got a manager who's skilled themselves and can actually lead by example, can role model, can teach. So I'm emphasising that this afternoon. And also, in the same way that active support has got structure, PBS has got structure, practice leadership also needs structure. So I'm going to be outlining a couple of methods, approaches, tools that practice leaders can use in order to fulfil that role more effectively. Active support actually fits in with PBS because it forms the major part of primary prevention. It wasn't designed initially for people with challenging behaviour, but for people with more severe learning disabilities. And this is going back 30, 40 years. But it fits in because it emphasises the engagement of people in everyday life. It's about improving quality of life. It's using all those opportunities around, just around daily living, to be able to try and encourage people to increase their skills, increase participation, and become much more engaged with their own life. And you can't actually do positive behaviour support without active support, because all of the primary prevention strategies within PBS are central to active support. And it fits in really well because often, traditionally, our services have focused on training staff in reactive strategies. So staff spring into action when they see challenging behaviour or they see challenging behaviour just about to start. And traditionally, that's where we focused our training on staff. What we haven't done traditionally is to teach staff how to engage people in activity, how to encourage participation, how to interact with people to promote engagement. And that's what active support does. And that's what you need as the primary prevention within PBS. I think the first thing I would advise someone to do is to inform themselves about what active support is about. There is material around there, there's research reports, there are people who are skilled already in it, and there are manuals around. I think it's important for services to inform themselves before looking to get training, because they need to be able to judge the quality of the training. As any term becomes more well known, there can be some corruption with it, that some services might be saying, oh yes, we're doing active support. Some trainers might be saying, we can train you in active support, and they might not be doing what they should be doing. So I think it's important to get informed first, to contact people who are doing it, find out what it is that they're doing, and then try and get some training for their staff. Some of the manuals you can use them as self-training, but it's usually good to get someone in to oversee that and perhaps deliver that training. And often it's better when you're starting off to get trainers from outside the service, because they often have more weight if they're from outside the service. But the emphasis, I think, should always be on developing internal trainers, internal champions for active support. Because unless it gets embedded within the service system and spreads throughout the service, any approach will just get lost eventually. So I would see it as quite a long-term strategy, but I would start off from a good knowledge base.